Hello to all. Very welcome to this space of Hecho por Nosotros and Animaná. We are so enthusiastic, excited of being all together in order to give another step into this system change. Buenas tardes a todos, muy bienvenidos. Estamos sumamente emocionados, entusiasmados de esta conversación conjunta, transversal, donde estaremos dando un paso más hacia este cambio sistémico basado en modelos regenerativos, en la colaboración, donde la tecnología puede ser esa gran puerta de entrada, esa gran herramienta que, conectada con nuestros valores profundos como seres humanos, eco-human values, valores ecológicos humanos que son universales e inalterables, nos reúnen hoy.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. It is with great excitement that I welcome you to Lab 3 Sustainable Style, a youth-led evolution in fashion. This session is part of the Youth for Youth initiative, and we're here today to explore how young people like ourselves are at the forefront of shaping a more sustainable and equitable future for the fashion industry.
Well, why does the fashion have such a large environmental impact? It all starts with how we produce clothing, because every step of production involves high resource consumption, such as water and organic materials like cotton, petroleum for synthetic material, chemicals, and energy, while generating enormous volumes of pollution and greenhouse gases. Now, let's talk about the climate change, which is one of the environmental crises to which the fashion industry contributes. Textile production is responsible for 2 to 8% of global greenhouse gas emissions, driving climate change. The industry's high carbon footprints come from high energy consumption and is influenced by the source of the energy use. More than 70% of the emission come from production processes, and in second place, with a surprising 20%, is product usage, that is basically washing and drying garments by the consumers. And to a lesser extent, that is transportation, product distribution, retail, and inventory incineration contribute to emission, and well, all of them as 3% as well. Well, now let's talk about a little bit about the environmental crisis linked to the fashion industry, that is pollution and its effects on the water crisis. Pollution is a problem that affects water, soil, air, and the biosphere. In this case, we focused on the impact on water resources, which are essential for ecosystems and human life. In the fashion value chain, the highest water consumption occurs in fiber production, bleaching, dyeing, textile finishing, and garment use. So, what happens to water quality, you may ask? The biggest contamination problem occurs in textile treatment and dyeing factories due to the use of chemicals, some of which are highly toxic. Although wastewater should be treated before being discharged, but this does not always happen. Many illegal factories and clandestine discharge release poorly treated water loaded with dyes and dangerous chemicals. And well, these polluted waters flow into rivers and streams, infiltrate underground aquifers, and eventually reach the oceans, degrading terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems along the way. This process makes the textile industry responsible for 20% of the global industrial water pollution. Well, the fashion industry not only affects the climate and water resources, but it also a major driver of biodiversity loss. This involves not only the disappearance of species, but also the degradation of entire ecosystems and the services that they provide, where some of them are essential for life. Well, there are 5 main factors contributing to this crisis. That is cotton farming, extraction of natural and manufactured cellulosic fibers, textile dyeing and treatment, and textile waste and microplastics. Well, regarding the cotton farming, it accounts for 23% of global insecticide use and and is the textile fiber with the largest water footprints, using nearly 3% of global irrigation water. In the case of extraction of natural and manufactured cellulosic fibers, it's necessary to cut down more than 150 million trees per year, where up to 30% of them come from endangered primary forests. Sorry. The textile dye and the treatment of is responsible for 25% of industrial water pollution. In the case of textile waste, this contributes to habitat loss and environmental pollution in landfills that can impact up to 300 species per hectare. And regarding the microplastics that are released from synthetic fibers, they end up in the oceans, entering the food chain, and affecting several marine species. Well, I would talk about now a little bit of the case of marginalization of artisans and loss of cultural knowledge. Well, in this case, fast fashion not only fast fashion not only exploits factory workers, but also displaces artisans and their cultural traditions. Sorry, because this industrial model prioritizes mass, cheap production, devaluing local knowledge that has historically been a fundamental part of communities in Latin America. This marginalization threatens the disappearance of techniques and traditions passed down from generation to generation, having as well profound economic implication. Traditional knowledge represents a unique opportunity for local development and economic diversification. However, the artisans are being displaced by cheaper industrial products, making them lose their livelihoods and forcing them to abandon their cultural practices and impoverishing communities. At a regional level, this dynamic reinforces dependence on fast fashion industry, which is a model that neither recognizes nor respects the cultural values of Latin America. The loss of cultural knowledge and the marginalization of artisans are not just economic challenges, but also threats cultural diversity of the region. This problem reflects the depth inequalities that fast fashion perpetuates both socially and culturally.
I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the solutions. We have a preservation of the culture and appreciation of local knowledge. Preserving culture in the textile sector is essential because it bridges the past and the future, intertwining in heritage with sustainability. Traditional textiles embody not only craftsmanship, but also the values, history, and identity of the communities that create them. In a world increasingly dominated by fast fashion and mass production, cultural preservation offers counterbalance by emphasizing authenticity, ethical practices, and environmental responsibility. By valuing these traditions, we not only honor the diversity of human expression, but also we create a path toward a more equitable and sustainable global textile industry. We have the standardization of and homogenization in fashion. We have that in recent years, we have witnesses how globalized fashion has standardized consumption patterns. This has led to a cultural and environmental crisis, pushing aside a cultural diversity traditionally represented through clothing in different parts of the world. And as highlighted by a teen magazine, homogenization in fashion not only threatens authenticity and diversity, but also exclude the cultures that not fit these standards. This phenomenon has created a disconnect between local tradition and contemporary fashion, imposing mass consumption patterns that disregard artisanal knowledge. And the question that we need to ask ourselves is how we can rebuild this connection and truly value the cultural richness that fashion should represent. We also have the avoiding cultural appropriation. Another pressing issue is the cultural appropriation, where brands take identity elements from traditional cultures, such as design, embroidery, ensembles, without credit or fair compensation for the communities that create them. This practice not only devalues artisanal craftsmanship, but also violates the cultural heritage and the economic rise of the indigenous people, indigenous communities. For instance, many brands profit from these elements without respecting the time it takes to create them or their deep identity roles in the local communities. So it's more than essential to protect the indigenous communities' rights against this exploitation and foster genuine respect for their cultural legacies. And the fair and ethical trade. The fair and ethical trade is a vital step in combating this exploitation of the vulnerable communities. For example, the luxury brand Loro Piana has worked with a Peruvian vicuña wool, which has been accused of paying Andean farmers far below market rates while profiting enormously from this luxury fiber in global markets. So fair trade is not just about economics, it's about recognizing and reward the cultural and environmental value of the artisanal work. Okay, also have the conscious consumption. What is the conscious consumption? This plays a transformative role in supporting sustainability within the textile industry by addressing its environmental, social, and economic challenges. By shifting consumers' behavior toward informed and intentional purchasing decisions, it helps foster a more ethical and sustainable industry. Here is how. First of all, reducing environmental impact. Conscious consumers prioritize quality over quantity, opting for durable and sustainable textiles. So this reduces the demand for fast fashion, which is notorious for its high level of waste, pollution, and overuse of natural resources. For example, chooses textiles made with biodegradable or recycled materials, supports the principles of the circularity by keeping resources in use and preventing them from becoming waste. And second of all, we have promoting fair trade and ethical practices. Conscious consumption encourage the support of brands and artisans that respect fair trade principles by choosing products that provide fair wage and recognize cultural and artisanal knowledge. Consumers contribute to the economy empowerment of the communities, especially in the regions where the traditional textile making its a vital cultural practice. And finally, we have preserving cultural heritage. Informed consumers value the stories, tradition, and identities behind textiles. By supporting local artisans and indigenous communities, they help preserve craftsmanship, traditional knowledge, and techniques passed down through generations. Thank you.
And I'm going to talk about the role of technology in sustainable fashion. The fashion industry is a major contributor to environmental and social issues that technology is emerging as a key solution. Artificial intelligence is transforming various aspects of fashion, from design and production to supply chain management and consumer experience, helping brands adopt more sustainable practices. Today, we'll explore how AI is driving sustainability in fashion and shaping a more responsible industry. For intelligence artificial in product development and design, we have two aspects. One is generated fashion designs, and this intelligence helps designers predict trends, analyze large data sets, and create innovative designs efficiently. Also, in generative design for sustainability, intelligence artificial can explore multiple design possibilities and optimize material use, reducing waste. And these applications like ideogram, Wayshop, and Printify enhance digital design, minimizing the need for physical prototypes. Artificial intelligence also supply chain and product lifecycle management, optimized supply chain and logistics. It improves inventory management, avoiding overproduction and reducing waste. Tools like Scubalt and Fishbowl enhance tracking and demand forecasting and real-time inventory adjustment. Also, circular economy and reserve logistics enables better recycling and repurposing of fashion products, minimizing landfill waste, and other platforms also optimize product distribution and last mile delivery. Artificial intelligence in sustainable consumer and engagement can triumph forward, and also online shoppers feel excluded due to poor representation in fashion image, whilst a lot of percentage are disappointed when items don't fit its expectations. Virtual try-on technology reduces returns and enhances sustainable shopping experience. Artificial intelligence-driven trends and consumer behavior analysis platforms like Trend Analytics and Curatic analyze social media and consumer data to predict fashion trends, reducing unsold stocks and waste. Also, it's transforming fashion into a more efficient and sustainable industry, while artificial intelligence has limitations such as high data requirements and information costs. Its benefits is reducing waste, optimizing productions, and promoting responsibility consumption are undeniable.
Thank you so much. That was our presentation of the research that we are currently developing in the Youth for Youth program of Hecho por Nosotros.